Hi, welcome to Tales Beyond the Grave. Welcome back to another video, and we're here for part 3 of our tour around the fabulous Weaste cemetery right here in Salford. And today we're going to take you around. There's some markers like this around the cemetery, so we're going to take you around and show you some of the graves of importance which are here in the cemetery. Now there's some famous ones you might know and some you might not know, so let's go and find them. You've got to get on your toes and have a walk round, and we'll go and find where these important graves are. Weaste Cemetery in Salford is steeped in history and local folklore, and the cemetery was established in 1857 and is Salford's oldest municipal cemetery, and is a final resting place for over 332,000 individuals. Now, the cemetery was built as Salford's churchyards were getting too full, and amongst the graves here in Weaste Cemetery we have Charles Hallé, the founder of the Hallé Orchestra; Addy Colman, the Manchester United Busby babe who was killed in a Munich air crash of 1958; Addy, who was a local hero who helped save over 50 people from the polluted River Irwell. So this is the grave of Sir Charles Hallé, who's a musician who founded the Hallé Orchestra. It tells you all about him here. Apologies for the bird droppings, but if ever you come into Weaste Cemetery, that is the grave of Sir Charles Hallé from the Hallé Orchestra. It's such a great cemetery to walk around here. It's so old in places, and you're right on the edge of the Manchester Ship Canal. And if I turn you around this way, with all these old gravestones from the Victorian times, and then just there is Media City. Couldn't be a bigger contrast really, because from the brand like new development of Media City to the old Victorian graves of Weaste Cemetery. So this is the monument to Addy, a truly Salford hero who helped save over 50 people from drowning in the River Irwell. Now, the River Irwell wasn't as clean as it is today. It was polluted and sludgy, and he took the risk of diving in to save people. And he saved his first person when he was just aged 13 from drowning one of his friends. And there's a little story here if ever you come to Weaste Cemetery. So also Mark had been awarded the Gallantry Medal by Queen Victoria, the Albert Medal for Gallantry by Queen Victoria herself. Now, after his final rescue, Mark became ill, and the river took its toll on Mark after swallowing polluted water from so many times. He succumbed to the river, and it come full circle from saving people to actually claiming his life. So that is the final resting place of the Salford hero, Addy. Another buried here in Weaste Cemetery. I've covered this on my channel before. This is Addy Colman, and I always pay homage to Addy Colman being a United fan. Addy died at the age of 21, the youngest member of the Busby Babes to die in the Munich air crash on the 6th of February 1958, along with his fellow teammates and other people on the plane. So that's Addy Colman's grave. Also, an unsung hero we have here in Weaste Cemetery is that grave of Billy Norman, VC, and that's his grave there. Now, his grave lay uncovered. Nobody knew it was there until records found, people from the cemetery found his records that he was buried here, and they gladly sort of like tidied up the grave and funded a new stone for the VC, William Norman, who was the 7th Regiment Royal Fusiliers in the Crimean War. Also buried here in the cemetery is a few of the soldiers of the Noble 600. Now, the Noble 600 were part of the charge of the Light Brigade, and that was a famous battle in English history. where I think it was about 673 soldiers armed only with sabres charged at the Russian army and their guns, and it was there was a famous poem about it saying, I think it's something, into the valley of death rode the 600, and I think there's 4 of their soldiers are buried in this grave. There's James Cameron, who's buried here. There's also Ferdinand Stanley, Joseph Ireland and David Andrews are also buried in this churchyard. And like I say, it's a needle in an haystack to look for them. But yeah, 4 soldiers from the Charge of the Light Brigade. How good is that? History right here in Weaste Cemetery. Now the next grave I'm going to take you to is that of Joseph Brotherton, and it's probably the biggest monument here in Weaste Cemetery. Now Joseph Brotherton was Salford's first MP, very popular man, and he helped to open Peel Park, get Peel Park open, and also Weaste Cemetery. He campaigned to get this cemetery built as Salford's churchyards were getting full. And he was a keen vegetarian, one of the first vegetarians known, and also his wife was one of the first people to write a vegetarian cookbook. And so I'm going to take you over to show you this magnificent monument of MP Joseph Brotherton. So that is the magnificent monument dedicated to Salford's first MP and who helped to open Weaste Cemetery, Joseph Brotherton. Look at that for a monument. Very popular man. On the day of his funeral, it was said that the streets of Salford were lined with thousands of people, and thousands attended his funeral as well. Salford's first MP. So another grave we're looking for is just over here, and it's the grave of Henry Burgess. You might not know him, but if you remember Daft Monkey, his videos on the Manchester Scuttler gangs, fantastic few videos he done there. Watch them on YouTube if you would. We realised that Henry Burgess was actually buried in Weaste Cemetery, so me and Sharon, one cold day it was, cold wet day, we come over to Weaste Cemetery and we found his grave for Daft Monkey. Now, Henry was a bit of a bad lad. He was famous, but not famous, if you know what I mean. If you Google anything to do with the Scuttlers or watch Anthony's videos, Henry Burgess's name always appears, and a picture of him as well. I'll put one here just to show you what he looked like. He looks a bit of a rough lad. So yeah, head Scuttler, Henry Burgess's grave is just over here. So let's go and see where he's buried. So that's him. Head Scuttler, not famous in any way, but the name of Henry, you can see Henry and his Janet Burgess. Henry Burgess was one of the faces of the Scuttler gangs of Manchester and Salford. Just another bit of trivia if you ever come, and if you want to look for a Henry, he's just across from that grave with the bullet hole in, or with the shrapnel hole in. Now while we're here, we're looking, I'm just taking you around showing you graves, and there's also a grave of another Manchester United footballer. This one goes underneath the radar a bit, and this is the grave of David Byrne, and he played for Manchester United and he was also an Irish international. So I'm going to show you where David Byrne is buried. Let's go and find his grave. So David Byrne is buried in Weaste Cemetery as well. And if you don't know who David Byrne is, I didn't myself. If you look on my previous videos, I've done a video on David called The Forgotten Manchester United Footballer, and he was until the conversation between a relative and an undertaker, and the undertaker found out that David is an ex-United footballer and played for Ireland as well, and what he did was to contact United, the directors of United, and they bought his Irish caps and put them into the museum, and also paid for the headstone. And this is the headstone of David Byrne, and it's in loving memory of Darren Blackburn, aged 2, and Edward, or Ted, was David's best mate who he lived with for some time. But go back and watch the video if you can, and it tells you all you need to know about the career of David Byrne. But that's another ex-United footballer buried here in Weaste Cemetery. So we're at the end of the video. Thanks for watching Tales Beyond the Grave. Really appreciate you taking the time out to watch the video. Subscribe if you would. If you're a new subscriber, thanks very much for joining the channel, and give us a thumbs up, a like and a share if you would. It just encourages me to go out there and make videos like this, which I think you might like. If it's interesting, I'll do it. So I'm going to say I'm going on to the next video now. And at the end of each video I always say I don't know where I'm going, and that is true. I don't know where I'll be going on the next video, but what I'll do is I'll see you when I get there. Thanks for watching. Bye.